Big Gamer out here. How are you guys doing today? I'm super. Thanks for asking. Hey guys, back again with another one of those Nintendo Switch reviews, and this time I've chosen Neo Turf Masters. So that's an SNK release on the Nintendo eShop, and it currently retails for $7.99, or if you're in the UK, £6.29. So this game comes back from 1996. I kind of remember the release of it well. I was following the AES scene at the time, and this was an arcade release for SNK, but they did bring it to the AES console. So back then, if you were really rich, you could pick up one of these giant cartridges and play this at home. It's an arcade golf simulator. It's a part simulator and part arcade experience, and it does this really well. It kind of combines the simulation style of the PC and Amiga games at the time, things like an actual golf for instance, and it gives it some anime trimmings and makes it a little bit more accessible. So the gameplay is mainly timing based, similar to something in an actual golf where you actually use the buttons and you time the amount of power you're going to use on the shot and the height of the shot. And this is combined with a little bit of strategy in that you have to make calculations on the fly. So if your shot lands in the rough, for instance, you might, instead of going, alright, my club can hit this ball 100 yards, therefore I'm going to hit it. I'm 90 yards from the pin, so I'm going to hit it 90%. The rough would take off, say, roughly 30%, mind the pun, and then you would then hit the ball 60% power to try and get it closer to the pin. So you kind of have to make those kind of calculations on the fly and take into account, with most golf games, the wind. Now this was quite a good looking game for the time. Now it did come out a little bit later in the cycle for 16-bit consoles, but things like the Super Nintendo were still around. People still had their Mega Drives, and these machines weren't really pushing golf games like the SNK AES could. It did fare quite well against like the Amiga and the PCs of the time, and what it has done to capture this style is it's animated most of like the intros and the course itself and stuff like that. But what it's done is added digitized characters as well to kind of give it a little bit more of a modern feel and trying to capture that look of things like actual golf on the PC. It offers several different golfers to players as well, which is quite nice, and that kind of adds a little element of tactics because each one has different attributes. One guy's really good at putting, one guy can drive for miles and stuff like that. So it's a little bit similar to how you would actually see golfers play against each other. Each one has their own strengths and weaknesses, and this really adds to the longevity as you get to find out who is the best fit for you. So you can play the game in its original Japanese release, or you can play the Western release. So that's nice to have that option there. It's certainly nicer than, you know, when you bought it back in the day, you only had access to the one. From there, the game is broken up into stroke play and match play. So stroke play is basically like a single player mode where you play and try to better your score on any given course. And it also kind of compares you to a leaderboard and tells you where you would have finished in a competition. And then you get match play, where you can play with two players and each one of you can have a Joy-Con. You can set up on tabletop mode or play on your TV or whatever, and you can play against each other. I really like that idea because this is a game that lends itself really well to multiplayer, and to be able to actually just take a Joy-Con each does mean you've got multiplayer out of the box. There are 4 courses, which isn't the most, but each one is 18 holes long. So it could be argued that there's maybe a slight lack of content here, but I quite enjoyed my time with the game. So what kind of score would I give this game? Personally, I'm going to give it a 7.5 out of 10. Now I think it could have scored higher. I think if you got a few more players in there and a couple more courses, it would have gone a really long way with this game. Overall though, I really love the presentation. It really takes me back to golf games of the day, and mostly it reminds me of going and playing Golden Tee machines, and if you remember those in the bars, they were really big at the time, and it brings me back a lot of that nostalgia. But the game is actually really addictive and fun to play as well, and it is ideal really as a 2-player game, pick up and play, and it lends itself really well to the Switch and what the Switch does best, which is having a little go on the go wherever you are. Out in the kitchen, you're making some dinner and you want to play a few rounds, maybe you just want to perfect your short game or something like that, and it really lends itself to that. I would say if you've even got the vaguest interest in golf games or arcade style games of this nature, £6 or $8, it's a bit of a no-brainer. I'm really enjoying it. So guys, if you want me to keep bringing you reviews like this, more Nintendo Switch content, whatever you like, feel free to like, comment and subscribe, and I'll keep bringing you the content.